Okay, welcome everybody to 2022 models. My name is Open today, just because while you all just put it down in the chat box and maybe we can answer it after about myself. Industry space manufacturing what that is just basically all the manufacturing products that the main product of Bloods into is and but all the other products would get plants, the design software as well. Been around about 5 years and stuff been doing this for quite a while. Advice about Autodesk AutoCAD and Inventor certified. What that is you just gotta kind of sort of keep that certification up to sort of put that certificate sort of emails like that to just tell you that you have certified in Inventor. The other software that they do offer exams for. Sorry, just hold on a second.
Issues can Sorry, can you guys hear me now? Is it a bit better? Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. Okay, cool. Okay, so carrying on. Yes, so just basically just telling you here that you know the Autodesk software that I've sort of currently done, 19 years of experience in the Autodesk channel, you know, doing training and consulting, etc. And then the AutoCAD Inventor certified. So that is when you do an exam that you've got, Autodesk sort of allows you to do. And then when you're certified, then you can put those certifications on, sort of emails, business cards, etc. I'm an Autodesk certified instructor as well, so I've written my exam to offer, classes within Autodesk and on Autodesk products as well. So, the way that Autodesk likes to give out those, those classes and also the content that needs to be offered as well. I've lectured at both Autodesk University Extension, Joburg and Cape Town as well. If you guys have been to that, you'll know that it's a great event, especially with networking for sort of other individuals and professionals in your industry. There is an Autodesk University Las Vegas, Autodesk, well, the original Autodesk University, that is coming up, I think, in 2 or 3 months' time now. So if you actually go to the Autodesk University website, you'll see that you can sign up for that. So it's a virtual event, and there you'll get additional classes from industry specialists all around the world, where you'll be able to learn new stuff. So that, I mean, if you do have a chance, you've got some time out of your busy schedules to actually go and watch some of that stuff. It's a great opportunity to learn. And then, as well as if you do miss any of the classes, they do post up those videos afterwards as well. So if you do need to go learn anything, Autodesk University is a great place to go learn a lot of content that it actually comes from the industry specialists, the guys who are using the software. They're not just the developers. They get some coding, they put it out. And the guys who've worked out great workflows, how to work all the different features in a software product, and that's where you can go and learn all that stuff over there. Okay, so the agenda, just basically what is model states? Okay, so it's something new that's crept up into Inventor 2022, and you've seen it, you kind of know what it is, but what is it? How does it fit into your workflow now? Because obviously it's replacing some older workflows that we did have in 2021 and before, and now it's something new that we can actually start integrating into our workflows over here. Then we just take a look at a little bit at simplification. So there has been simplification before, but Now, how does simplification sort of play into model states? So we're going to take a look at that. And then we've got our model states parts. We look at model states assemblies. We're just going to take a look at as well just the drawing portion. So, how do we, sort of what parts of model states actually come into our drawing, our 2D IDW or DWG, whichever format you're using. And then just a quick Q&A at the end. Okay, so what is model state? So once again, it's a powerful new workflow. Okay, so it's something that Autodesk has been working on for a very, very long time. It has been in beta release, and guys have been working on it, and they finally released it to what it is today. It can create multiple representations of both a part or an assembly. So you kind of think of, if you ever worked with iParts or iAssemblies, it's not a replacement, but it can be used instead of iParts or assemblies. In the iPart, iAssembly vein, it's a convenient way to manage your designs by using different dimensions or parameters. In assemblies, you can use different components or you suppress components. You can different properties, iProperties, and the simplifications tool that we've got. So a new way of simplifying your components to make it easier for sort of downstream processes. And probably the biggest thing about the model states, and this is the greatest or most powerful part of the model states workflow, is that all these different variations exist in one file. Okay, so I think the easiest way to think of what model states is kind of your iParts, iAssemblies. We have different variations. And with iParts and iAssemblies, what happened there is you'd have your factory components, your main part, and then you have to generate all the different factory components afterwards. And if you've got an iPart with 50 different configurations, that's 51 different components that you actually got to manage. So if anything changes, then it is quite a mission trying to manage all of those. So with model states, everything resides in one component. So it's much easier sort of working with this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at is just simplification. So there's a new simplification button in there which allows you to very quickly remove detail, fill voids, or define simple envelopes. So now the detail that you remove would either be your fillets or your chamfers. So any fillets or chamfers that you need will just very quickly be taken away. Then with your voids, okay, so what it does, it looks for any holes or any openings, and it'll put a patch on it, and then once it's closed up everything, it'll sculpt it, do the sculpting command. So what that allows you to do is any internal components that you've got, you very, very quickly and easily are able to strip that away. So this is great for when you need to send a part out to someone. They just need the general outside sort of area of your component. They don't need to see what's internally inside there. Okay, and then defining envelopes, that's even taken into a more extreme sort of phase where you're just seeing cylinders and boxes. That's all you see. There's no holes or lips or anything like that. It's just basically a cylinder in a box. So just next, we'll just do a little demo on that, just to show you exactly what we can do with that over there. Okay. So over here, what we've got is just this component over here that I have, and this component. I'm just going to take a look at the different ways of simplification. So when you are simplifying, if you don't see the simplification panel over here, just click on the drop-down arrow over here and just go find that simplification and just make sure that you've got a tick next to it. Now, 3 different ways. First one is to remove details. If I select that, this little mini toolbar pops up, and that mini toolbar, you can go select all the faces. Now, what it does with this mini toolbar is it deletes and patches up faces. So, if I had to go and delete these faces over here all the way around, it would then put a sort of sharp edge between this face and this face over here. You'll see there I can either choose all my fillets or my chamfers. I'm just going to go and auto select. Okay, so you'll see it picks up all of that and apply. And with that, you'll see there, as I said, it's now put sharp edges between all the different faces over there, and it's taken away all my different fillets and my chamfers. Okay. The next one we can take a look at is just filling voids. So select fill voids once again. I can go sort of select each one individually, or I can say auto select. It looks for all the different holes that it can find in this component over here. And once it's done that, I can click on apply. So if you're in the bottom of it, you'll actually see what it's doing. So, that's remove details was deleting a face. Okay. And then the boundary or the fill voids was doing a boundary patch. So you can see all the different boundary patches that it's actually created over here. So boundary, and then it's sculpted all those boundaries. So you can see over there, it's now a full solid. So if I go to my view, let's go to half section view. So everything has been filled up internally over there. Okay. And the last one we can take a look at is our defined envelopes. Okay. So with the defined envelopes over here, there's two different types we can do: bounding box and a bounding cylinder. So let's do bounding cylinder. Select this object over here. So you can see they'll take that outer extremities. I'm going to go click resize. And with resize, I can actually also then maybe just make this bigger or smaller. Okay. Or I can, sort of take it and see which direction I want the bounding cylinder to go to. And then I can say align with that face, and there's my first bounding box. And then for the bottom over here, select, okay, so it's done a cylinder. I want a bounding box. Looks good to me. Select resize, drag it up, align with that face over there. Okay. And then I've got a simplification of my components over there. Okay. So this is a very, very quick and easy way to simplify your component. And, after the next section, we'll see how we can use this to, in our simplification tools, or sorry, in our model state tools in an assembly as well. Okay, so the next one we look at is model states in parts. So probably how you've used model states in inverted commas in the past would be your iParts. So you think about your content center. That is, you've created all your different components, as iParts, and you put it into your content center. When you drag it out, then you'll see there that you've got your, all your different lengths, widths, diameters, different M10, M8, M6. One thing you can do with model states is have different variations of a component. So by suppressing, parts as you're going along in the component, like there's a sheet metal, different stages in the sheet metal sort of workflow. So, you've got your flat plates, and then maybe it goes to one section of the factory where they will bend it up, and they'll go to another stage of the factory where they'll punch it, or punch the holes first and then go and bend it up. So you'll have two different models to show the two different stages in the factory or in the workflow that you've got running around the factory floor over there. Okay, we've spoken about the product families that have got different values for dimensions or features. And then also eye properties can be different for each iteration as well. So that's quite important, because if you think about it, if you've got different components, you can have different part numbers, or maybe, you want different descriptions. So you're very, very quickly able to go and change those different eye properties, within each model state component that you've got over there. Okay, so let's take a look at our... Okay, so I'm going to take a look at this component over here, and I'm going to create different model states for this turbine impeller. Now, the first thing I'm going to probably do is I want to say, I don't want 20 blades, I want 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So let's go to our model states. We'll create a new one. Okay, it says great. You can toggle to switch between edit member scopes. And the first thing that you'll notice is obviously model state 1, and then it's got a little blue pencil over here, which tells me that I'm editing this model state. And then I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to say 21 blades. Okay, and then I'm going to change the number of blades that I want. So obviously it's in the blade pattern, edit feature, and we find that it's actually a user parameter that I've got. So there's 20, blade number is 20. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our parameters, find that parameter, so blade number, and change that to 21. Okay. So change it to 21 over there. And we can see if I go back to my master, it'll slightly change. Okay, 20 and 21. Okay. But now you don't want to have to, right click, create new 22, right click, create new 23, 24, 25. So what we're going to do is we can go and edit it by Excel spreadsheet, just the same way that we used to do in iPods. So this is over here, and what you'll notice is that only the parameters or whatever I've changed will then show up in this Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so I can now go 23, 24, 25 blades, full series, and let's just go to over here as well. Okay. So member number and number of blades. Save it and close, and it will then go add my additional model states over there. Okay. Okay. So coming over here now, if we take a look at our 3D annotation over here, stainless steel turbine impeller with 20 blades. Now this is obviously 24 blades, so it's not 20. Now if I take a look at this, I go to my properties, and you'll notice I'm actually taking that stainless steel turbine impeller with 20 blades from my description. Okay, so that doesn't actually show you that it's there. If I go to my annotations in my browser, you'll see over here, okay, there's description. So it's taking from my standard eye properties, primary model, description. Okay. So if I wanted to change that, I could go up to my eye properties, and we're on 24 blades, so we can say 24 blades. And you'll notice there that it is now blue. Okay, so it's telling me that I've modified it. And probably something else that we're going to change as well is our part number as well. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go make this 844. So now we've got two different eye properties that I've changed. So my part number and my description, which will now be available if I have to go and edit this in my Excel spreadsheet over here. Okay, so there we go. So I've got my part number, I've got my description, and I've got my blade number and member. So, we can go and take a look at this. The easiest way to change it, we'll just change everything over here, full series, and then I'd have to go and individually go and change all of this over here. Okay, so that is quite, it's a bit tedious, but it just gets the job done, and at least then all the information is there when I come back to my part. So save that. Okay, so 24 blades. Let's go to 25 blades. Okay, 25 blades, 23 blades. If I've made a mistake, let's just say this is like 1, 2, 3, you don't have to go back into the Excel spreadsheet. You can just go up to eye properties with the your model state sort of activated, and then go change it over here. Okay. So you'll see there's 123 blades. Just say there was a mistake. You'll notice there that it says 123 blades. And the other ones still say the same. So it's 24 and 25. Okay, so just if you didn't want to do, say for instance, I change now my material. I say, look, this must now be steel carbon. Okay, it doesn't change my description because obviously this is a description. It's text that I've manually input. Now, I don't want to have to go and if I had 10, 20, 30 of these, I don't want to have to go and change this every single time. So what we can do every year is we can go to our eye properties, and we're going to go through to the description, and let's go and change this to material. Okay, material, put it down. Then we've got our, it's just time, with turbine impeller. And then we wanted the number. So we can go to our user parameters. There's the number over there. I don't want 23 UL, just want 23. And we can put that down over there. and blades. Okay, so you can see how I'm building this up. Just make sure that all my text is the same size so it doesn't look funny. And okay, so there we go. Steel carbide turbine impeller, 23 blades. If I go to my 24 blades, it will then update, and it also tells me it's stainless steel. So if I had to go say this is now, let's do that, titanium. Okay, just change it to this one. Go back to 24. Okay, and there we go. It turns to titanium over there. Okay, so one thing you'll notice that the color hasn't changed just because I've overridden the color at the top of here. So it's all stainless steel polished. I'd have to go and just take a look at my appearance and then just clear override. And it'll clear it to the override that it needs to be over there. Okay, so as you can see over there, I very, very quickly and easily, created a new model state and, started changing eye properties. I've started changing parameters. I've started changing my material, so properties within this. And, it is now changing everything as I go through my different sort of model states over here. Now, if I wanted to change it for everything, so, each time I double click on this, the little blue pencil moves to whichever one it is, and it tells me what I am changing. If there was a eye property or parameter or something like that, which I want to change for everything, then I would double click on the top one over here. So now what it's doing is currently editing everything. Okay. So then I can say, maybe just suppress this. Okay. And what it does is now, it's now changed it for every component. You can see that chamfer doesn't exist anymore, that blade chamfer. Okay. So you can either go and edit them or modify them each individually, or you can modify all of them at one time to make those changes over there. Taking it through to a DWG or an IDW. Just, I don't know if you guys have ever worked on tables, but when you bring your components in, once again, under your representation, you've got the option of which model states to bring in. Okay. And once that's done, if you wanted to maybe make a table of the different configurations or variations of it, go to annotate, go to general, select it. It knows that there's table information in there or model state information, so you can see their model states, and then go choose your column. So I probably don't want member because I've got that master, but part number definitely, material and description. So just take the member away from here. Once that's part number, material description, blade number, let's do it over here. And then okay. And there I've got my my table over there. So my description, blade number, material, and part number over there. Okay. Okay, so that's a very, very quick, sort of demonstration on how you can use model states in your parts over there. Okay. So then moving on to model states in your assemblies. Okay, so what you can do is you can have alternative assembly positions. So, if you can control your constraints in this as well. So, and all positional representations. You think about the old Inventor tutorial where you had the positional representation of a stapler in a closed position, open position, maybe half open position. So you can control that through model states as well. Visibility, sort of suppress, unsuppress stuff. Level of completion. So, you can have different model states as you are building up this assembly over here. Once again, it's, who is working on the assembly at what stage in the factory process. Simplifications. Okay, so, once again, we saw how we could simplify parts in the part, and you can actually sort of link it into your assembly as well. So we'll see how we can actually also link model states of the assembly to model states that already exist inside your parts. So for instance, if I need to take an assembly and send it out to someone in a simplified state, think about that while you're actually modeling up your components. So as you're modeling up, your 10, 50, 20, 100 components, have a specific named model state And from that model state, you're able then to very quickly and easily extract the name into the same name that you applied in your assembly over there. Model states are also fully supported by the Inventor API and iLogic. So if you are doing your own programming to automate processes that you have got in your workflows, they are fully supported by the Inventor API as well as iLogic. Okay, so in summary, for just model states, assemblies, you can, and this actually is also part of your part, you can control your parameter values. In assemblies, you can control your constraints, you can suppress components, as well as your features. You can link your model states in your parts to the assembly. You can control your level of detail. It actually replaces level of detail. So you find that you don't have level of detail in 2022 anymore. It partially does, iAssemblies or does what iAssemblies used to do. And it does have an overlap with view representations and positional representations as well. Okay, so let's just take a look at what we have over here. Okay, so remember in the beginning we had our this component over here, and I want to show you now how we can link the model state that I've created in my part with the model state that I create in my assembly as well. So I'm just going to go and let's go and delete all of this over here, take it back to a earlier state, and yep. So over here you can see I've got my medium. So I've taken all my holes way over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and copy this. Okay, so copy that. And with this video, I'm actually intentionally going to create the wrong named model state. So I'm going to say this is now rough. Okay, so fine, medium, and rough. The model state that I'm going to create in my, just so that you know, in my assembly will be coarse. Okay, so there's my rough one, and I'm going to go and activate that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put a envelope over here. So let's go and create our envelope quickly. Resize it, bring it up. As well as this over here. Let's change it to our bounding cylinder. Line, there we go. Okay, so this is now my rough level of detail. And if I go to my, okay, so I go to this component over here. So you'll see over here, I've got fine and I've got medium. Okay, and let's go and create that additional model state over here. So let's go to new. So now I'm in my assembly now. So new model state, and I'm going to go and call this coarse. That's what coarse. Okay, so fine, medium, and coarse over here. So what I want to do is I want to go and link any other model states that have got coarse in them in the parts to this model state that I've created in my assembly. Now, what I do know is this component over here. If I open this up, you'll see there my model states. I've got fine, medium, and coarse. So that one already exists in this over here. So let's go take a look at what happens. Under my Assemble tab, let's go to my Productivity panel. And in that Productivity panel, I've got your link model states. So select it. Select the model state name to activate, coarse. Now watch what happens to this component over here, this disk. And okay. Cool. So it's now taken away the holes over there. And as well as this component actually also changed. Okay, so you see it's now started to plug up some holes over there. But now my issue is that I also don't need so much fine detail in this component over here, and it didn't pick it up. So I obviously renamed this. Well, it's got the wrong name that I need. So if I go to my model states over here, I'm going to rename it to coarse. Go back to my assembly, and then go and link that model state again. And there we go. So it's picked up that coarse model state name, and it's now created over there for me. Now, there's a couple of things over here that you still need to do, where we've got collapse all children. Okay, we've got components, internal components that I actually don't need to see. So, for instance, these over here are all, internal components. Okay, so I can just go and take these in my course model state, and I can go suppress it. Okay. So suppress that over there. And then as well as you'll notice in the relationships, there's a whole lot that are failing because the components or the geometry doesn't exist anymore. So we just need to know that we need to come over here and just suppress all of these over here. So suppress. Okay, so now I'm good to go. If I go back to my other two model states, they're fine. You'll notice there that it reapplies those constraints. Okay. Okay, so we're all good to go there again. Okay, so that's just the one way that you can, create your simplification in a model state in your part, and then very easily link it into a model state that we've created in our, our assembly as well. If I go to, I go to this assembly over here. So now, in this assembly over here, I've already got two model states I've created. And this model state over here, 0 units, it actually takes this front unit away. So it suppresses that. And if I go to my 2 units, you'll see there that it's got 2 units over here. So let's now take a look at what happens if we create an additional 3 and then 4 units as well for this model state. So we're going to go edit via spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet over here, you'll see there, once again, the member name, and then how many units you've got over here, and then also computing and suppressing. So this is, do I compute or suppress the different components that I've got in this assembly over here? So what I'm going to do is going to go copy this. Okay, and let's just go and make this 3 units. And then 4 units. Okay. So, very quick and easy to change this. Save it. Create your additional model states. Let's go see what 3 units looks like. There we go, 3 units and 4 units. Okay. Okay, and there we've got our assembly model state over there. Okay, so when it comes to changing sort of your assemblies or your parts in model states, 2 different ways. You create a new model state, you then change what you need to do, properties, parameters, whatever it is, suppress, unsuppress, different features or parts, and then you are, that's it. That's done. Not really much else you can do over there. And that is it from my presentation. Are there any questions? Can either talk or put it out down in the chat.
Hi, I'll do it. Yeah, following up.
Yes.
Question from my side. When you were busy changing the model state on the assembly level, it looked like you actually ended up with broken constraints as you changed the states for the individual parts.
Yes.
Is there no way to maybe link that constraint to a different model state and just like mark it as locked in like the core state, for instance, so that if you constrain a part under the fine model state and you move the model to coarse, then Inventor would still know where that part's supposed to be instead of giving you a broken constraint?
So when you saw the model states, when you saw the constraints, I actually suppressed them. But when I went to my other model states, it reapplied that constraint to the components that were there.
But if you suppress the constraint, is that part not now free to move?
I suppressed the part as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I look at if I go here, where's the star?
I'm just thinking of like modeling in like let's say coarser states because your model is too heavy, or you want to maybe simplify it, give it to one of your colleagues that don't need to see that much detail, and you still want to keep it in the Inventor model. So I want to go and reconstrain the parts just because it's in a different state now.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if I look at this, oh no, it's the wrong part. Assembly. No. So you know, if I look at, you know, when I go to my, oh, I can see what you're saying over here. So in this course, so you can see like mate, that mate and that mate is pressed.
Yeah.
You get a medium, it unsuppresses it.
Yeah. If you move it to coarse now, can you actually move that component around?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
you want to have a new constraint over there.
Yeah.
That's right. I see what you're saying now. Let's just go here quickly. Yeah, because it's constrained to something that's not.
Yeah,
not there. Yeah. Good
Okay.
question. Actually, I need to play around with that and just see what you can do. I'm sure you could, sort of suppress this and then
yeah, you'll need to
add another constraint, but that's now you start to do a whole lot of other work as well.
Yep. Okay. Second follow-up question. The numbering scheme that you can set up in Vault, can you apply that numbering scheme to the part numbers for the various model states as well, or can you just manually change the part number?
So when it comes to the Vault, there is a bit of a problem with with part numbers. So model states at the moment, I think they are working on it. It doesn't really work with part numbers. It's not going to show you all the different part numbers of your different model states. But it does work with items in Vault Professional.
Okay.
So unfortunately, at the moment, with part numbers and model states, if you're still using sort of a part numbering parts in Vault, then you're not going to see all the different part numbers. You'd have to use iParts and iAssembly still. But if you are using items, then it does pick up all the different part numbers in the model states in items, because it assigns an item number to all those different part numbers.
Yes.
So that is something else. So if you're using items, you don't have an issue. But if you are using part numbers, then they still haven't taken this to that level yet.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Cool. Okay. If there are no more questions, thank you very much. I have recorded this, so if you guys want to take a look at it again, it will be up on YouTube by the end of the day. And thank you very much for attending.
Right. Thank you very much.
Oh, great. Cheers.